What's happening, guys? Happy Thursday. Yep, that's not a typo. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On today's show, we are going to get back to our positional rankings midway through the Dynasty season. But again, the 101 on his shirt, the 101 in my heart, the co-host of the show, you know him better as the man of the hour, and the man with the power, Jerry Sinclair, buddy. A Thursday.
Yeah, I think this might be the first Thursday that we've ever done. I think we have bounced around just about every darn day of the week over the nearly decade that we have done this show. Thursday. Blame both of us, sort of.
Well, I will get to the genesis of the Thursday for the audio listeners, probably Friday. I will get to that because the Podfather reached out to me. Yeah, I know the Podfather. Sucks that you don't. But the Podfather reached out to me and he was like, hey, we're trying to drive more of the Dynasty content back to Player Profiler Plus YouTube channel until we get into Dynasty season, which is essentially January. He's like, would you and Jerry mind? And I didn't consult Jerry because I wouldn't to begin with. And it was like, can you guys move the Dynasty WarZone back to Player Profiler Now Plus? And I'm like, of course, you know, we work for you. You're a good man. You're our buddy. Let's do that. So that is why. But then I had to reach out to Jerry and say, hey, Jerry, what day can you record? And this actually works out great for me. I'm actually hoping that Jerry can continue this as a trend for the remainder of the regular season. But I will say, I can't say that we've never recorded on a Thursday before, but I can say, I can't say it as definitively as I used to. I would say we've done this for 8.5 years, right?
Yep.
So 52 weeks a year, 8 years, that's 416 weeks. We started in July. We'll round up. We'll say it's been about 450 weeks that we've done this show. I can say there's probably been less than 3 weeks where we have not dropped a show in those 8.5 years. And as technology has changed, that has gotten easier, but we have always done this show, not because we feel like we have to, but talking to Jerry about football and just life in general is one of my favorite things of all time. But Jerry's my one friend that's really into Dynasty as much as I am. Now, can you say the same? Do you have anyone that you chat with on a daily basis that loves it like I love it, or I think I love it?
No, I mean we've got to realize that we have people that listen to us in February and April and January and October, and degenerates, absolute degenerates. I have a few people at work that play a little Dynasty, and I like to talk, and we talk trades, and usually it's dog crap that Diddy keeps sending me. Bless Matt Dent's heart, friend of the show, wonderful human being. He keeps sending me poop, though. Love you, buddy. But no, nobody that consumes it like the drug that it is and should be.
I mean, we love Dynasty Fantasy Football. We've been doing the show forever, and I think, and we try to keep it fresh. We try to mix it up. Now, seasons change. You know, you'll go into live season, into rookie season, into draft season, into camp season, and it's a cycle, but it's always new players. It's always fun, and that's why I love doing the podcast, and that's why I think we're 50 shows short of 1,000 episodes. So I don't want to waste too much time because we have a long show and we have a lot to get into. So I want to get our first commercial out of the way. We'll be right back after a word from Fast Draft.
You asked, we delivered a full best ball tournament on Fast Draft, but we do it the Fast Draft way, and it's called the Rabbit, because of course it is. 20-second time clock, 15 rounds. These drafts, they take 20 minutes. That's it. So you get a lot of new people coming in and playing, get a lot of best ball bros playing, exploitable ADPs, no rake. It is the best EV in all of fantasy. You should just go to fastdraft.app, use code FAST. You get a $50 deposit match. These things are a blast, and it's the best use of your funds in all of fantasy.
And while that is true, that is an old promo. I don't know why that's still on my screen, but Fast Draft, you use promo code WarZone. There have been overlays throughout the season on Fast Draft, and that improves the pool stays the same, even though the field is short, but when the field is short, you have a better chance of winning. Go to Fast Draft, download the app. When you sign up, use promo code WarZone, all one word, all caps, WarZone, and that'll get you that dollar for dollar match up to $50, and you can get in the action this coming weekend. So, Jerry, I've got a lot for you this week. I do have a good people, bad tweets. But what did you see throughout the course of this week? Anything before I get into mine?
No, so honestly, this was the week I hung out with the lady. The Lions were not playing. Michigan and Michigan State played on Saturday, so that was my day to watch football. It did not go well for my boys. So nothing crazy. It was Bipocalypse, which is absolutely horrible. I am selfish, and I know that, and I understand that the players need a week off, but brothers and sisters, can we separate it a little more? I was in hell on Wednesday trying to set my lineups, and then again on Sunday morning just carving it out. I had to put, I think Randy was starting in one of my teams.
How did you make it through Bipocalypse? Did you do okay? Anything crazy?
No.
Who was the craziest player you had to start?
I think I started Isaac Tesla, or not Isaac Tesla. He was on bye week. I started Tez Johnson probably twice. Didn't do great, but you know, it is what it is. It was rough sledding. A lot of tight ends. I had to start tons and tons of tight ends in spots, which it was National Tight End Week, and they actually did okay. For the most part, though, got clobbered. It seems like all of my bad teams actually won, which sort of sucks because I'm trying to, rally to get a better dynasty pick. But it is what it is. You do what you got to do. We survived. I just complain too much. I'm a whiner.
You are a wiener, and I was looking for this tweet that came out, and I saw it earlier in the week, and for whatever reason, it's no longer appearing. But it was a gentleman named Jacob Sanderson, and Jacob with a J. And he tweeted the other day, and I can't find the tweet, and that pisses me off. I should have copy and pasted it into the show sheet. But essentially, it came down to Caleb Williams has not had it as good in the NFL as Drake May. That was the genesis of the tweet. And I was like, what are we talking about here? At what point has Drake May, I'll even go back to college. At what point has Drake May ever had it better than Caleb Williams? I mean, Drake May went to the University of North Carolina. All right. Came into the New England Patriots. Gerard Mayo, rookie head coach. Pop Douglas. Keyshawn Butte, who's actually turned into quite a player.
Because of Drake May.
Because, we'll get to that in a second. Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, and, Caleb Williams came into Cole Kmet. I would say Cole Kmet and Hunter Henry about a wash. Slight edge to Henry, at least historically. They traded DJ Moore for him, and ESPN did a write-up when they came out that no rookie has come into a better situation ever than Caleb Williams. What are we talking about?
And then it even got better when they got Ben Johnson, right? Like he was the hot hire for any offensive-minded team. That's wild. I actually made a trade for Drake May in my redraft league, Randy. So I am all aboard the train.
Now, I will say that Matt Eberflus was as bad of a head coach last year as Gerard Mayo. And you could say, well, Drake May's got Mike Vrabel. Okay. But who was the most sought after coach in this most recent coaching cycle?
Benny J.
Okay. Let's go skill weapons. We still got Pop Douglas.
Cool.
We've got Keyshawn Butte. We got Hunter Henry. We added a very underutilized Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, so that's your bag. If you put all those guys on a scale, and
you got old man Diggs too, but yeah.
I forgot about Stephon Diggs. But on the other side, you have DJ Moore.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
You've got Luther Burden. You've got Colston Loveland. You've got Cole Kmet. You've got DeAndre Swift. Jerry, you'll never be a quarterback in the NFL. But if you were to be a quarterback in the NFL, which bag of skill, which side of the scale of skill weapons would Jerry Sinclair rather have?
Jerry Sinclair and every other human being on the planet would rather have what the Bears have.
And would you rather have Ben Johnson or Josh McDaniels as your play caller?
I mean, it would be Ben.
It's a trick question. I disagree. I'd rather have Josh McDaniels. How many Super Bowls has that guy called? He
Yeah,
may be. I said this last week
fair.
when we broke down the quarterbacks. That dude may be an all-time kook, but he's a hell of an offensive play caller. And as much as everybody is heaping the praise, and rightfully so, on Drake May, a lot of it has to do with what Josh McDaniels brings to the play calling as an offensive coordinator. And this just goes to show you that I've always been, and it changed your franchise's history to date. The Bengals took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, and then the Falcons made it even worse because they took Kyle Pitts over Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell. But the Patriots went out and got the lineman out of LSU. At no point in their career has Drake May had it better than Caleb Williams. This was a horrible tweet. This is an all-timer. Jacob, kudos. I think you have me blocked or muted. I don't know. I wish you had. I wish you had made it so I could never have seen this tweet, because this tweet was an all-time pile of shit. Congratulations, Jerry. I will filibuster long enough to see if I can get Uncle Dana queued up, because you know Uncle Dana. We've not done Uncle Dana in a while. Yeah, we'll go with this one for Jacob.
Motherfucker on the planet. Holy shit.
Yep, Uncle Dana said it all. So that was good people, bad tweets. But I did have another topic. And guys, we've only got an hour today because there's a show right behind us on Player Profiler Plus YouTube page. So we got to be out of here at exactly 8 o'clock live. But the trade deadline, Jerry, it's coming up. What are your thoughts on the NFL? How about this? What are your thoughts on trade deadlines in general?
I mean, if you want to talk in Dynasty, I don't think they should exist at all. But for the NFL, it's actually gotten more interesting year over year, which is sort of nice. Like you feel like the NBA used to be the big one where everybody was flipping every single season, and the NFL has sort of caught up with that a little bit. I would like to see a little bit of fireworks. The problem is I don't know that we will. Like, Randy, is Jacoby Myers really going to make you excited if he gets traded and goes somewhere? No. Like, that does nothing for me. It's Breece Hall or nothing at this point, as far as Dynasty is concerned. Like, if the Lions wanted to go for a monster defensive end or something, like, yes, I'm going to love that. But when it comes to Dynasty, it's really, is Breece Hall going to go to a different spot? And that's sort of it.
Well, we'll get to Breece Hall when we get into the running back rankings. To me, I think trade talk. Now, I'm old. I am the old man. There might be one or two guys on the Player Profiler Network older than me, but I'm the old man of the group. And I remember when trade talk became a thing because of ESPN. You got the hot stove league in baseball. Every July, it was who's buying, who's selling. And I was thinking about this today. I was like, I think this trade deadline stuff is just, it was created by ESPN and it's been adopted by content creators across the land for the last 20 years. It's just a way to fill content on a show. There are going to be no meaningful trades. I used the A.J. Brown trade last week. There's so much of a negative cap implication for the Eagles. Now, if there was no penalty, if there was no issue, then yes, I could see where the Eagles would want to trade A.J. Brown. But the NFL is different than other leagues. In the NBA, they have a salary cap. You just have to make the numbers line up. If you're acquiring $25 million, you have to move $25 million. And if you go into the luxury tax, then you have to pay it. The NFL does not have that. Because of the way contracts are written, front-loaded, it makes deals very, very, especially for premium players, very, 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 very hard to do. So while I think trade deadlines are fun in theory, and we love to talk about them, it gives us something to cover. I don't expect a lot of action, Jerry. I truly don't. And you're right. It's going to be the Jacoby Myers. It's going to be, there was a couple of like a cornerback and
cares?
a cornerback and a seventh went to one team for a sixth. That's what the NFL trade deadline is. Now I remember years ago when your Detroit Lions traded Roy Williams to the Dallas Cowboys for a pretty good haul, but I just don't anticipate it. And it's just going to be a time filler, and it wears me out. And even in the NBA, you don't get a lot of huge, they're not moving Giannis at the trade deadline. They're not moving Jokic at the trade deadline. And I will say this on Brees Hall, and I want to give credit where credit is due. I believe it was Mike from the Fantasy Footballers who mentioned this because I saw it in a tweet. What the Jets are likely to get from another team for Brees Hall will not be the equivalent of the compensatory pick that they would get for letting him walk in free agency. So what does another team have to offer the Jets? I think they get a third or a fourth if he signs with another club in free agency. So if they're already going to get a third or a fourth, what could the Chiefs offer them?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to offer them your Chiefs third. So instead of getting, I don't know, the 108th pick because it's a compensatory pick, you're getting the 96th pick overall. I mean, maybe. I mean, are the Chiefs going to give up their second? Are they going to give what could be a pick in the 60s for Brees Hall? Because then they have to extend him. It's just not as easy as it sounds, Jerry. So I don't want to poo-poo the trade deadline. It's a lot of fun. If there are any trades, if I'm wrong, and trust me, I've been wrong a lot.
I hope you are, but
dude, I mean, outside of Brees Hall, is there anyone else that you realistically could see being traded of dynasty relevance?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be Jacoby Myers, and I legitimately don't care about Jacoby Myers. And I know there's some of you out there that are fans of his and want good things, but when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of winning my league, Jacoby Myers is not relevant in that conversation.
So you and I are on the same page there. I don't think from real, and I tweeted this out as well. I don't think from a real NFL standpoint, who's the wide receiver that's been traded for in the last 20 years that made the difference in a playoff run? Can you think of any? I mean, years ago when Amari Cooper was the last big name that I could find that really was a name that had high NFL draft capital, that had performed at a pretty good level, that got traded to a contender, and it didn't amount to anything. Anything that comes to mind when I say that? I remember the Randy.
I actually forgot. Did he get? Oh well, yeah. But then you got to go all the way back to 2007, and that might as well be 100 years ago.
But even that didn't lead to a Super Bowl.
Yes, but it led to a pretty damn good run.
Because I tweeted this out the other day it was 2 days ago. This is the wide receiver one on every NFL team that's leading their division as we speak. Okay.
Yep.
You got the New England. New England's technically in the lead with 6-2, and they've got Stephon Diggs. And then our buddy Dustin Royer, he corrected me and said it's Kayshon Boutte. Fine. Okay. I won't push back. You got DK Metcalf with the Steelers, Michael Pittman with the Colts, Cortland Sutton with the Broncos, AJ Brown with the Eagles. He's clearly the best of the group. And then you got Romeo Dubes, I guess. I mean, I don't know who else you would call the wide receiver one. Our boy Jaden Reed's hurt. Christian Watson coming back. Emeka Ibuka, Mike Evans hurt. There's at least the first one I mentioned that was drafted in the NFL's first round. And then you got Puka and JSN tied. Puka was a fifth rounder. JSN, again, another first rounder. Wide receivers don't matter. The good teams, but you know what all those teams have? The Patriots have Josh McDaniels. The Colts have Shane Steichen. The Broncos have Sean Payton. Good Matt LaFleur with the Packers. It's Sean McVay with the Rams. It's about play calling. It's not about wide receivers. This is what happens when ESPN and fantasy footballers start making content. We're just going to trade all the big, pretty names, Jerry.
Yeah.
All right, and then we're going to get to the rankings, but I did have one other thing that I heard the other day, and I tweeted it, and I was the first person to tweet it from a fantasy standpoint, and it knocked your socks off, Jerry, because I tagged you in it. Okay,
Sure.
in 2018, the Cleveland Browns drafted Nick Chubb, and the New England Patriots drafted Sony Michel. Do you remember this?
I do recall.
And those gentlemen were teammates on the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yes, they were.
In 2025, the Cleveland Browns selected Quinshawn Judkins. The New England Patriots selected Travion Henderson. Both teammates, The Ohio State University. In 2018, it looked, and it ended up being that the Browns got clearly the better end of that deal. And so far, through 8 games, it looks a hell of a lot like history is repeating itself, as Quinshawn Judkins has looked a lot better than Travion Henderson to date. Jerry, isn't it funny how history repeats itself as our resident history major?
Yeah, it does. I'm looking at a very expensive piece of paper that says I like history quite a bit right next to me, and it's wild. Never thought about it, even though it's literally almost an identical situation. Here's to hoping, for the love of all that is good in the world. Now, I know we just got the report today that said the Patriots are trying to get a running back. Full of crap. Not going to happen. If they do, it's going to be Isaac Garendo or something, somebody who doesn't actually matter. If
rumor is they called on Chuba Hubbard.
Okay, I mean, that would suck. That would suck if you're a Travion guy, for sure. We got to just hope that this is the week.
What that tells me is that the turf toe or the toe injury that Stevenson has probably more significant, because as of today, he's not practiced Wednesday or Thursday. And as much as we would all love Travion Henderson to get the opportunity to get more touches, a Mike Vrabel-led team is not going to have just Travion Henderson as the primary ball carrier.
No. It's an interesting situation from the outside, because we've all seen what Travion Henderson could do. We saw what he could do at Ohio State. His first preseason touch, he took to the crib. Without knowing, it seems like he just doesn't know the plays. Like he doesn't understand their playbook, so they don't put him out on the field, or they only put him out in very basic situations, which is fine. We're getting to the point where you're 2 months in, you're catching up to the curve. He did get a little bit more carries this past week, and we can only hope that it's going to be more than that. But if a person is not, you have to be smart to understand a playbook. Like, I can listen to an NFL quarterback call a play and not have any fucking idea what he said. And I feel like I'm a relatively intelligent guy. So not only do you have to be an unbelievable athlete, you have to be a student of the game. And if he just hasn't caught up to that, he's not going to get the opportunities, and that's unfortunate. I don't know if that's the situation. That's just an assumption, because athletically, you would think the man would be playing.
Let me ask you a couple of Dynasty questions. One, what are you doing with Henderson in Dynasty right now?
I'm chilling.
Same.
Or I'm trying to acquire if I can. I don't know that you can, because the person that drafted him obviously drafted him very high, and it's only been a few months. I don't know exactly if they're going to pull the trigger on trying to get rid of him, but I'm totally fine with hanging out. And if it sucks and it is Sony Michel, you live and you learn, Randy. Next time history repeats itself and the Cleveland Browns take a teammate running back and the Patriots take a teammate running back, which one to draft.
And if it happens 7 years from now,
yes,
we know how to stay away. That's the one thing about being a Dynasty gamer and playing Dynasty, is you can get everything right. You can get the talent right. You can get the fit right. You can get the coaching scheme right, but you just cannot guarantee yourself that they're going to be a pro. I don't know any other way to say it. They can be a good football player. They can be a good athlete. They can check every box. And I think it's the same thing we're seeing with Caleb Johnson. So when people want to tear down Dynasty content creators for getting things wrong, it's like, gang, that's the one thing we can't see. We can get everything else right, and if a guy just cannot grasp the NFL game, they're not going to be a thing. I'm also holding. I will say this: if I'm a contender and I don't love this class. And be on the lookout soon over at Player Profiler. Shout out to the team. They recently asked a bunch of us, including me, to go ahead and give them our preliminary 2026 rookie rankings. And as I was doing mine, it's like I'm not super jazzed about this running back class. So if you're a contender or someone with some draft capital that might be in that 110 to 112 range, and maybe that current Sony Michel GM might want a refund on that. Excuse me, I got Sony on the brain.
See what you did.
That may want a refund. Hey, I spent a first. I'll take a first for Travion Henderson. That's the kind of acquisition. Like if you got but I'm not giving especially in a super flex league, I'm not giving like a top 6 to 7 pick for him. But if someone, like I said, if you can spin it, if you can sell it that way, then I'm all for acquiring at a back half first, because I don't think you're going to get a running back of equivalent value. And let's be honest, when you invest a second round pick, a high second round pick, a top 40 pick in a guy like Sony Michel, they really need him to pan out, Jerry.
Travion Henderson, but yes.
Damn, I should have never. I wish I had never heard this and thought of this from Dynasty.
Yeah,
now I'm stuck.
Yeah, I'm
stuck.
It's imprinted in your brain.
Well, you know how bad Sony Michel hurt people, and we were doing the show. I think that was our second year. Yeah. It was our 2017 was our first season together. That was our second season. You know, they say lessons not learned in blood are soon forgotten.
Hey, that's a good quote. Put that on a t-shirt. But no, I'm with you. You're definitely trying to. And as far as next season's running back class goes, Justice Hayes from Michigan. Don't love the team. Don't love the helmet. Kid looks awesome. But he's really the only guy I've been watching that looks like he's comparable. So if you can give up the back end first for Travion Henderson, I'm fine with it. If it backfires, I do apologize, but it is a strategy that I would implement. So if it backfires for you, just know and take solace in the fact that it will also backfire for me.
Well, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get through running backs for sure. If we can't get through tight ends, we'll definitely do them next week. There's just so much going on, but I have one more thing before I go to our commercial. From a dynasty standpoint, super bummer news this past week. Cam Scattaboo got a boo-boo, and he's done for the year. And it came out this week that he will be cleared in April. 6 months from, they said he'll be cleared to, I guess, start limited work in 6 months. Gang, 6 months from now is April 1st. That's got me a little bit nervous. That's like right around the NFL draft. It misses some of the offseason program. Jerry, what are your thoughts on Cam Scattaboo, and what are you doing in Dynasty?
I am looking at Tyrone Tracy's contract right now because he's still got a couple years. Okay. I was worried that they would draft somebody else, because if you are the New York Giants, you can't rely on him being your bell cow when you've only seen him play for a few games. Albeit those few games were great. You're an NFL franchise. You need some insurance. So you want to have a guy that you can plug in there also. I think he is going to have competition, and that sucks. I mean, am I biased because I'm a person that doesn't have a lot of Cam Scattaboo? Maybe. I might be. But you're seeing it come to fruition exactly what we thought was going to happen with a guy who runs the way he does. He's not built like Derrick Henry, but he plays like Derrick Henry. He's not built like Marshawn Lynch, but he runs like Marshawn Lynch. I mean, he runs like Mike Allstott, but he's not a brick wall like Mike Allstott was. When you run as violently as he does, you're going to get hurt. And that's it's tough to overcome when that's sort of your skill set. Like, he's not going to burn anybody. He's not juking anybody out of his jock. Like, his MO is playing tough and running through a motherfucker's face. That's what he does. And when he tries to do that at the NFL level consistently, when he's built the way that he's built, this is what happens. That's why we've been saying that he is a sell. Ride the hype. And unfortunately, the hype is going to die And over the next couple of weeks, that value is going to tick down. Yes, it is, Randy. Once we start seeing people that are getting closer to the playoffs, they don't care about the hype of Cam Scatterbo. In the off season, oh, hell yes. Everybody is going to be talking about Cam Scatterbo.
Okay. I was going to say, have you learned nothing from me in
no,
almost a decade of doing this show?
I'm just saying, over the course of the remainder of point scoring season, Cam Scatterbo's value is going to dip. Once we get into the offseason, absolutely, he's a top 12 guy. He is the second coming. He is the Messiah, yada, yada, yada.
You know, for me, it was almost to the day. It was 1 year to the day that Chris Godwin got the exact same. Well, I say exact. He got a dislocated ankle, and here we are at week going into week 9.
Yeah.
And I don't think Chris Godwin has played in more than one game, and I know he hasn't logged a full week of practice in any game. And I know wide receiver and running back aren't necessarily the same thing, but I just said he's not going to get cleared to even. It's not like he gets cleared April 1st and returns to football activities. He gets cleared April 1st and gets started, the basics of running, jogging, then that will, progress into cutting. He could have a setback like Chris Godwin did. I did a quick back of the napkin GPT chat, and it said, the question was, how many NFL players have had a dislocated ankle and how many have returned successfully? And the query came back, 31 players met the criteria of a surgically treated ankle. 71% returned to play. So not even all of them returned to the league. That's one. We're talking about a guy that was drafted on day 3. But Jerry's right. The opportunity to move Cam Scatterbo is when the season's over. And you can go get a guy that maybe underperformed on the season like RJ Harvey. Because people aren't going to have done. You're listening to the Dynasty WarZone in October. I bet you some of your league mates are just grinding out the season at this point. This is one of those ones you put a little note in your phone. You go to your Google Calendar or whatever your calendar is on your phone, Outlook, I don't really care. You go in, you put yourself a note on there. February 1st, start trying to move Cam Scatterbo. The drumbeat will start. No one cares. But take this note, that will be the time that if you didn't sell, maybe you drafted him for a late second, early third in last year's rookie drafts, and you didn't get the opportunity to cash out, or God forbid you were one of those poor, unfortunate souls that went out and traded a future first or a second or both, that, that'll give you a chance to recoup some of that loss. I'm going to leave you guys on the Cam Scatterbo with news with this. A member of our patron chat and good friend, Dr. Kyle, he is a board-certified doctor of physical therapy. He seems to think that based on what he knows, again, he doesn't have access to Cam's charts. He wasn't there for the surgery. He's not been consulted, although he has worked with many professional athletes. Okay. He seems to be less concerned, and Dr. Kyle plays in some super high stakes leagues. So it may not be as grim as it could be, but for a guy with no draft capital, no contract of consequence, and a guy they could let go in the blink of an eye, and worst case scenario is Joe Shane gets let go at the end of the season. Brian Daboll gets let go at the end of the season. And we all know a lot of these head coaches, they're going to want to bring in their own dude. And that does all of that combined between the injury, the turmoil potential in the front office, and everything in between spells bad news for Cam. Love Cam, would want to totally party with Cam back in the day. And if you want to party this weekend, from a fantasy standpoint, check out Fast Draft Quick Six.
Pour one out for an incredible best ball season. It was a breakout 2025 for Fast Draft, but now the NFL action has started. That means it's DFS season. That's right. You might think, oh, wow, DFS, I can't win DFS. Oh, but you can on Fast Draft. You just pick any 6 guys, and you put them in a handful of booster spots. There's no salary rubric you have to follow. You're not going up against thousands of killer bots in these tournaments. Oh, no. These are regular people grabbing their 6 favorite plays of the week, and that's all you have to do. And we post the ownership so that you can choose how much chalk you want. There is no drafting. It's called the Quick 6 Super Slam. The Quick 6 Super Slam is the signature DFS contest at Fast Draft. It is changing DFS. We are making DFS great again. So go to fastdraft.app and use your host promo code for a $50 deposit match. And let's go start drafting faster.
You know, I love a Podfather promo, but the one with there are no salaries. That's my favorite one. Maybe I should have played that one. You know the promo code, it's WarZone. Check that out. Jerry, we got 25 minutes and we got rankings. So how about this? I'll make it easy to start. Give me your 1 and 2.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is
Jahmyr Gibbs
one. Jahmyr Gibbs won. I was
Welcome-
wrong, Randall.
welcome
I
to my side.
apologize. I
Well-
apologize. I did not understand that you knew ball. Number 2 is Bijan Robinson. I think that's. I mean, it's one of those two for just about everybody. I don't think that's
Pretty
surprising.
simple stuff. And this is the tier. This is the tier. This is the there's nothing like this even anywhere close in the league. I think my third guy is going to be close. Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, no offense to Bijan Robinson. What do you have, 5 points against Houston? They were easily able to scheme him right out of the game, which is saying something. And I love Bijan Robinson. He's an absolute stud. Even the best of players have bad games. For me, it's all about Jahmyr Gibbs. And not that I was already there. I was Jahmyr Gibbs RB1 in Dynasty last season. I came into this season. Nothing's changed. But I copied you on the tweet when I reposted it. It was the picture of him as WWE superstar Jeff Hardy. But that wasn't so much it. The young lady in that tweet. Goodness gracious, young man. Tip of this cap to you, sir. But yeah, easily, if you have Gibbs 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, you are loving life. You are loving life in a league. Who do you have 3?
Jonathan Taylor.
Wow. Okay. I have Taylor. I have Taylor at 5. I have Taylor at 5.
No, wow.
And here's the thing. If he was 2 years younger, he'd be in that
care.
category with the other guys.
If he's 2 years younger, he's probably 2. I mean, he's ahead of Bijan if he's 2 years younger. What Jonathan Taylor was doing, what does he have, 14 touchdowns in like 8 games? Just dropping his nuts on everybody. I mean, Jonathan Taylor is the number 3 running back in Dynasty. I don't know why everybody in the entire world thinks age is this unbelievable, insurmountable thing when it comes to rankings. Jonathan Taylor is awesome. Jonathan Taylor is winning you money. Jonathan Taylor is going to make your opponents cry when you start him in a fantasy football or a dynasty football league. He's awesome.
He's on pace.
He's going to continue to be awesome.
He's only when I say old, quote unquote old, air quotes on player profiler play.
Maybe 27?
He's 26. So
Okay.
if you acquire him now or you draft him in a startup and redraft next year, you're going to have him for his age 27, 28, 29 season. So if you got that magical 3-year arc, it's like you're not, and even Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs aren't guaranteed to score more points than him in the next 3.5 years. Shane Steichen's not going anywhere. They're likely going to lock up Daniel Jones. Whether you like Chris Ballard or not, he just hasn't gotten the quarterback right. Maybe he has now with Daniel Jones. JT's going to have his at least third 1,400 plus rushing yard season to date. He had 1,800 a few years ago. He had 1,400 last year. He could easily get 2,000 this year. I don't want to be too crazy, but the Colts schedule very favorable. And dude, he is on a roll. So much talent on this team. I put him 5th. Now I was a fader of this guy. I was kind of a fader of this guy coming in, but he's only 24. And regardless of the offensive line issues, regardless of the turmoil within the organization, speaking of kooks, head coaches that, aren't really head coaches but are good play callers, Mike McDaniel. I put Devon Achane at 3, 24 years old. I mean, this guy, there were injury concerns coming out because he was a smaller guy. Dude, Devon Achane's a stud. Where do you have Achane?
I have him at 5. So we just
so
swapped JT and Achane.
I'll be very curious to see who you have at 4 then. So what do you have on? Because we both agree that JT's a stud. I'm a little bit more hesitant because of the age. Maybe you're right. I'm wrong. But dude, Achane's a stud, regardless of who's back there. Quarterback, Tua, no Tua. I mean, there's not an intangible yet that Devon Achane has not scored fantasy points regardless of. So I'm huge on Devon Achane. And then who do you have at 4? Give me your thoughts on Achane and then give me your 4.
Well, I'll do them both right now because I went Gibbs 1, Bijan 2, JT 3. I have James Cook at 4, Randy. I mean, we saw 18 touchdowns last year. We've seen I think it's like 6 or 7 so far. We've seen 4 100-yard games, one 200-yard game, and he gets tons of touchdowns in an offense that, let's face it, they don't really have pass catchers. Khalil Shakir is fine, and he's pretty good, but he's fine because Josh Allen has fed him the ball so far. Other than that, like, Dalton Kincaid shows up every once in a while. Keon Coleman is a ghost that doesn't exist in the world. Then you just have James Cook, and James Cook has just been awesome over and over and over and over again. The disrespect has gone on long enough. James Cook, 26 years old. We've seen everything that we need to see, RB4. And then as far as Achane is concerned, my 5, I was skeptical as well. I thought his size would be a bigger deal, and I said it over and over and over. And even after his first year when he was awesome, I said the same thing because I'm a stubborn idiot. Devon Achane's awesome. He's a top 5 running back. I don't really think you can argue it. He has been productive even when that situation has been a disaster. When it was awesome, he was awesome. When it was a disaster, he was awesome. That just means he's awesome.
He is, in fact, the definition of, like I said, we liked him coming out his rookie season. You know, he got banged up a little bit as a rookie, but I would have never have guessed that Devon Achane would have had the career arc to date. My 4, and this was my guy coming in, so to a large degree, there is a little bit of Memphis rose-colored glasses on there. It's Omarion Hampton. You know, and it goes back to the game where he had 12 rush attempts for 128 yards. But what really sold me from a dynasty standpoint was once he got going, he had 17 receptions in 3 games. So he was averaging just a skosh under 6 catches a game. That's what I want out of my running back. I want that involvement in the passing game. You know, when and this is, again, not a shot at Bijan's performance this past week, but when your stud running back has a shitty rushing performance because the opposing defensive coordinator stuffs the box, does not let him get out of hand, he can bail you out with 6 catches for 26 yards. Is it what you signed up for, getting a guy in the top 5? No. But it bails you out from having an absolute stinker, kind of like your boy James Cook. I'll bring up James Cook. I guess I'll go ahead and do James Cook now. Maybe I need to clean things up a little bit. I have James Cook 8th, and I thought that was good. I thought 8th was good. I looked at Player Profiler. I looked at Dynasty Nerds. I looked at Fantasy Pros. 8th was above consensus there. To say that you are above consensus there is an understatement.
Did they have rookies high?
Yes. I'm sure we got to talk about some rookies here in a minute.
I mean, for sure, I have rookies on my list too, but
so I have Omarion Hampton at 4. So, and we know Achane's your 5. Who's your 6?
Brees Hall. And I know
Okay.
that's probably
Okay.
a little spicy for some people, but we're talking about a guy who's 24. He's been the RB2 at the end of a season. He's
Soon to be a free agent.
He's RB12 right now, and he hadn't scored a single touchdown until this past weekend, where he had to and then threw another one because he's awesome to just bring that back. But you're seeing him in the pass game. You're seeing 100-yard rushing games. That offense is just bad. And so you're not going to get a 12-touchdown season, which is unfortunate, and that caps what he can be. But that's his situation, and we don't know how long he is going to be there for. But the player himself is easily capable of being in this spot, which is why I put him there, because I have confidence that I am still going to be talking about Brees Hall in 2028 when we're doing this show.
And I have Brees Hall at 9. Again, we're above consensus there where we have him. The Jets' offensive line, while always banged up, is actually pretty good. You know, you look at the draft capital across that front line. We both love Garrett Wilson. We love Brees Hall. The quarterback play is bad, has been bad for several years. What team does that remind you of? And what running back's having a monster season right now?
Sorry, I was looking at Brees Hall's stats.
It's the Indianapolis Colts. They had the offensive line. They had the wide receivers. They had the running back. And all of a sudden, you get the right quarterback in the mix, and it was the skeleton key that's unlocked this entire offense. Now, me personally, again, I have Breece Hall at 9. I don't think you have to pay RB9 prices for him. He's the kind of guy that we're going to talk about a guy here in a second. I think Ashton Genty will take up a large part of this conversation. But Breece Hall is a guy that if I could move Ashton Genty, we'll get to Genty in a minute, but Breece Hall, although I have him at 9, when I redo these rankings in a month, if he were to get traded to a Kansas City, God help us, please. I do not want to. I mean, not that it wouldn't be bananas for fantasy football. It would just be the chef's kiss to see Breece Hall in Kansas. But I'm just so tired of the Chiefs. There's only so much Travis Kelce, Kool-Aid Man, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. That's only so much a person can take. And we don't want them winning more. I'll tell you at 6, this one here will surprise you. And as much as this will surprise the audience, I got to say Jerry was right. I got Quinshon Judkins at 6. Dude is a stud. He's a stud athlete. He was a stud at Ole Miss. He was a stud at Ohio State. The only thing that would concern me about him, and you saw it in the game against the Patriots before he got hurt, when a coach like Mike Vrabel says, you're not getting loose, you're not going to get loose. But then again, when a good defensive-minded, coach or head coach, we saw it with Bijan Robinson against DeMeco Ryans. When a good defensive head coach says, you're not beating me today, he can be taken away. And this offense is so rough that the touchdown upside isn't there. But you know what? Quinshon Judkins is an absolute stud. He's a physical stud. He's got a stud pedigree. At some point, Cleveland, kind of like the Colts and the Jets, they've got some pieces. They've got some parts. The quarterback play has been horrible. Hot, smelly garbage, horrible. And at some point, they're going to get a quarterback, and it's going to unlock this offense even more. Dude, I think Quinshon Judkins is a stud. I had him too low in rookie season. You were much higher on him than I am. Am I crazy? Am I crazy for having him at 6? He's 22.
The only thing that I would push back on is that I want to see more pass catching. It's what's limiting his ceiling right now. As far as run, he is essentially Nick Chubb. So where did we have Nick Chubb 5 years ago? Right around here. So I'm not super mad at you. It's the same exact situation with the same exact team. That's butthole. They don't pass to the running back, and he runs great, which is exactly what
I will
Quinshon
give you
Judkins
that.
has done.
In his 6 games, he actually 7 games, he's had 12 catches. So barely, just under 2 a game. And like what I just said about guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, when the receptions are up, that bails you out of shitty weeks.
True, but I mean, that doesn't mean he's not capable of doing it. It's just the situation that we are in. I have him at 9. It's just because I have seen, I guess I can't really say that because I'm about to talk about Omari and Hampton, but the other guys I have seen, which is why I have players like Breece Hall ahead of him and James Cook and blah, blah, blah. I've seen it for longer periods of time with them, and they're relatively young. But yeah, so I have him at 9, so it's not like I'm poo-pooing on the guy. I also like him.
At 7, you have Omari and Hampton then?
At 7, I have Omari and Hampton.
Okay, anything different than I added?
On him?
Yes, on Omari.
The only thing I will add is I don't care who the running back is. If Jim Harbaugh is the head coach, who I think is probably a top 3 coach in all of football, whose major emphasis is running the ball, and you have Joe Alt and you have a good offensive line, and you have pass catchers that can take the vision away from the running back, you have to respect what Justin Herbert can do, which means that running back is never going to be the main focus, which is why we just saw Kamani Vidal go absolutely bananas as their RB3. Because that running back is always going to do good. And Omarion Hampton also happens to be good. And when we saw him, he was excellent. He catches the ball. He runs effective. The situation is perfect for him. I have him at 7 because I haven't really seen a ton. Is there a chance that he's RB3? Yeah, for sure.
Oh, if he finishes like that 3-game stretch that he had there before he got injured, if he comes back and plays at that level, he'll easily, because he's got the draft capital, he's got the head coach. If he finishes, he's eligible to come back from the IR any week. They have not designated him. They've not opened his practice window. None of the above. But when they do, if he comes back and finishes the last 5, 6, 7 games, has a good playoff run, and is like smashing people, then yes, we will. When we redo this in the offseason, it will be easy to put him at 3. I have him at 4 because kind of like you said it, and I didn't really think of it this way until you said it. But how I feel about Sean McVay for wide receivers, like nothing against Puka or nothing against Cooper Kupp, but Sean McVay took 3rd-round drafted Cooper Kupp and made him a Triple Crown winner. He took 5th-round drafted Puka Nacua and made him a top 3 dynasty wide receiver. Is that how you feel about Jim Harbaugh with the running back position? That if Jim Harbaugh is the head coach, then you feel like his running back's going to be worthy of that top 3 to 5 position, regardless of who it is. But the fact that it's a super stud athlete like Omarion Hampton only makes it sweeter.
Just think at any point about Jim Harbaugh's tenure. If you go back to when he was a 49er, Carlos Hyde was relevant. What happened to Carlos Hyde when Jim Harbaugh was gone? Fell off the face of the earth. Frank Gore was eternal. So I can't say anything about him, but he was always going to be effective there. He goes to Michigan. How many Michigan running backs can you name? It's Blake Corum. And what is Blake Corum doing? Like he's not doing anything great.
Well, we've got about 10 minutes left. I will go ahead and get to the end, and then we'll work back to the middle. My number 10 was Bucky Irving. Who did you have at 10?
I have Ashton Genty at 10.
Oh, I have Ashton Genty at 7. Let's talk Ashton Genty. Let's make the last 8 minutes of this podcast, and then we'll recap and get out of here so the show behind us can get going. Let's talk Ashton Genty. Now, I have him at 7. I thought I was low. You have him at 10. Please elaborate. I'll allow you to go first, unless you want me to go first.
No, it's okay. I can go first. What do you see that makes you think he goes higher? We've seen one 100-yard game. We've seen not tons of pass catching. We saw one game where he had 5 receptions and 7 targets against New Orleans. That's an elite team in the NFL. I mean, let's look at the receiving, okay? And then we'll get to the rushing, which is also a struggle. 2 receptions, 2 yards. 3 receptions, 1 yard. 2 receptions, 17 yards. 5 receptions, 42. That's the big one. 2 for 11, 1 for 13. That's just, it's not a prolific amount of his game. Now, the team is bad, and the team should get better, and if they get good quarterback play, there's a chance that that improves. 100%. But then you look at the rushing. It's like, first game, 19 carries for 38 yards. It's your first game in the NFL. It's all good. Like, 11 carries for 43 yards, 17 for 63 this last week, 6 for 21. He had 138 yards against Chicago, which is awesome. Love to see that. We've seen 3 touchdowns. We've seen one 100-yard game, and we've seen one game with 5 receptions. It's there, which is why I have him at RB10, which is not a disrespectful, that's not a bad thing. I don't feel obligated to put somebody in a position because of their age and because of their draft capital. He is a person that is going to get volume, and value and volume is one of the biggest things that we have preached for a decade. And he gets that, which is why he's here. And his age, with his volume, 10. But the production just, it does not justify this spot.
This is why I have him at 7 for similar reasons. This is why bad NFL franchises shouldn't draft running backs in the top 10. The difference is, as I said this in draft season, and I'm not going to put Ashton Genty higher than 7 because, quote unquote, Big Dynasty has him at 3 or 4 or 5. I don't give a shit. It's my job to tell you the truth, not to tell you what you want to hear. I said, why are we putting a 5'8"? We don't know how elite of an athlete he is because he didn't test, which again, kudos to him. It got him drafted 6th overall because had he tested, he may not have been drafted as high. From the big, is it the Big Sky or the Big Mountain West, or it's not a Power 4 school. Okay? Saquon Barkley was drafted to a shit team in New York. It's still a shit team in New York. That hasn't changed. And you know what he did? He produced. He was the big stud premium elite running back at one time. And you know what? He was a big boy, 6 foot, 200 plus pound mega athlete out of Penn State. Bijan Robinson went to a dumpster fire in Atlanta, an absolute shit show, a travesty, a train wreck. I could go on. And you know what he did? He came out as a rookie and balled. Okay. Before that, Zeke Elliott went to the Cowboys.
Set the world on fire.
Set the world on fire as a rookie. Adrian Peterson went to the Minnesota Vikings, set the world on fire. And all these guys were drafted high in the NFL draft, just like Ashton Genty. But you know what Ashton Genty isn't? He isn't 6 foot tall. He isn't 210, 215, 220 pounds. He's a small guy playing behind a bad offensive line with a shitty play caller. And you know what you're getting as a dynasty gamer? Shitty results. You're not getting wins. You're not getting dubs. Doesn't mean that he can't turn it around. Of course he can.
Correct.
Of course he can. But you know what the Raiders aren't going to do? They aren't going to fire Pete Carroll. They may replace Chip Kelly, because what the Raiders aren't going to do is fire another head coach. Because you know what the word is, it becomes in coaching circles, you'll never get a good coach. Why? Because what's the hot Ben Johnson type prospect tell his wife? Hey, honey, I got an offer to go coach the Las Vegas Raiders. And if his wife's smart, like this would be the comment my wife would make. You mean the team that fires their head coach every year? So we're going to uproot our young family and move to Las Vegas, Sin City, great place to raise a family. And we're going to move there so you can get fired in a year and we can find a new job? No, honey, I don't think so. You're a hot coaching candidate. We're not going to Las Vegas. So maybe the offensive line gets better. What are they going to do with Geno? What are they going to do with Chip? All of that matters. Just because people liked him and he had a great season last year at Boise State, it means nothing. At the end of the day, we play this game for money, and we play this game to get the money by getting fantasy points. And the guys in a good situation, like right now, is it a stretch for me to say that, Jerry, you could take Ashton Genty and go get Breece Hall in a first?
It's close, but yeah, probably.
No, I'll bet you dinner the next time I see you that I can send that trade right now. I can send Ashton Genty and I can get Breece Hall in a first. Go ahead and take that bet if you hate dinner, because you know what? I can get that trade done. But you know what? I can give up. Was he 23? Hold on one second. I happen to have it right here. Ashton Genty, he's 21. He'll be 22 in December. So I can go get 24-year-old Breece Hall and a first. I can have more fantasy points now, which is what really matters in this game. It's not cool names on your lineup, gang. And here's the thing. Even if Breece Hall stays in New York, is the Raiders' New York situation much different? No.
It's the same, but Breece Hall catches the ball also.
And I think Breece Hall's a way better athlete, if I'm being quite frank.
True.
So for me, Jerry, we're right up against it, and I don't want to infringe on another show's time. Quickly, without be fast but not in a hurry. Give us your top 10.
Number 1, Jahmyr Gibbs, because obviously, go Lions. Number 2, Bijan Robinson. Number 3, Jonathan Taylor. I don't care about his age. Haters can hate. 4, James Cook. You've all hated him for so long. Stop it. The man is awesome. 5, Devon Achane. I was wrong. I was a hater. I apologize. 6, Breece Hall. Haters can hate that one too. 7, Omarion Hampton. 8, Bucky Irving. 9, Quinshon Judkins. 10, Ashton Genty. Bonus 11, DeAndre Swift. Dude's been good.
All right. I will go equally as fast. I have Jahmyr Gibbs 1, have for 2 years, and I'm still right. Bijan Robinson at 2. I think that's the right call. That's a tier unto itself. And a man who is a tier by himself is Devon Achane. Not good enough to be in the top 2, but way better than anyone in 4 going backwards. Speaking of 4 is Omarion Hampton. I'm drafting the situation. I'm drafting the draft capital. I'm drafting a stud athlete. 5, my Colts, my Jonathan Taylor. Love JT, an absolute beast. He could keep this pace up for 2.5 years. And if you get Jonathan Taylor, especially in a 1-quarterback league, he could win you a lot of money over the next 2 to 3 years. Quinshon Judkins, I'm going to buy that they can get the quarterback right. Ashton Genty, I think I'm showing respect to what his talent could be. I think I'm being trepidatious on a shitty situation. 8 for me is James Cook. He's got the points. He's got Josh Allen. He's got the Buffalo Bills. And you know what he just got? He got the money. He got the contract extension. So at 26, much like Jonathan Taylor, he can be there for the next 3 years. And if he produces like he produces, that's awesome. I got Breece Hall at 9. I don't think the world values him at 9. So you can go out and get him, because whether it's next week he's on a new team or it's this spring he's on a new team, when he winds up on a better team in a better situation, his dynasty value goes up. You're buying equity on Breece Hall. Then I have Bucky Irving. But I will say this. If you want, I love value. For me, the guys that I have at 13 through 17, 16, there's a lot of value in there. I'll give you one. I have Kenneth Walker as RB16, and he's a potential free agent. I don't know that he leaves. I think he likes it in Seattle. I don't know that he leaves, but if you want to invest in a little bit of Zach Charbonnet on the offhand chance that as a free agent, Kenneth Walker leaves, or the Seahawks let him leave because he's had the injury issues, you know what that does to Zach Charbonnet's value? To the moon. Another guy, a couple of guys that have bounced back after rough starts to their career. I'll say DeAndre Swift was a guy who was similarly touted to Ashton Genty coming out. Was the 101 and 1 QBs that league. He's bounced back to have a nice career. I've got him inside my top 20. So many more. If you want to see our 11 through 20s, go join at patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. I just posted mine today. Jerry is he's getting around to it. And speaking of getting around to it, we'll get around to doing the tight end rankings next week. We just had so much to cover with the trade deadline coming up upon us, with the Cam Scatabo news, the tweets that I wanted to cover. And let's be honest, if we wanted to cover the tight end position in like 48 seconds, we probably could.
Yes, correct.
I mean, the tight end position, let's be quite frank, it's Warren, McBride, Bowers, Kraft, Laporta, and then a lot of TBD. But we'll get to the TBD next week. It's 8:02. The other show on Player Profiler Now is starting. Stick around and enjoy that show. This is where we're going to be the rest of the season. We'll be back on Player Profiler's main YouTube channel in the off season as we talk about rookie content. Jerry, it's time for Dolphins and Ravens on a Thursday night. Any final words as we get out of here?
Hopefully Lamar's back, because we know Rashad Bateman ain't going to do nothing.
If Lamar isn't back, the Ravens are going to have a hell of a fine, because they went full NBA. By the way, little note, I'll stick around long enough for this. You know, it's funny. You know, the Dolphins beat the shit out of the Atlanta Falcons last week.
Correct.
You know what's funny? You know, they had the little poker scandal and the gambling scandal in the NBA, you know, and Terry Rozier was tanking. All of a sudden, Terry Rozier goes to jail for tanking, and Tua throws 4 touchdowns. I'm not saying there's a direct corollary between. Remember when we were tanking for Tua?
Yeah.
Maybe Tua was tanking. Maybe Tua was tanking. Maybe he was in with the mob, the Gambinos, the Bonanos, the Genovese, and so many more. We'll be back next week. Thank you guys so much. We're not moving around because we want to. We're doing it because it's what's best for the brands at Player Profiler. And we'll figure out a permanent recording date soon. On behalf of Jerry Sinclair, follow him at JerrySinDWZ. You can follow me at DWZ Memphis. We'll be back next week. We'll talk hopefully some trades and tight end rankings. See you guys.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.